Whenever a society hits a real crisis, like when the old ways just completely stop working, something pretty incredible happens. These bold, sometimes totally radical, new blueprints for the future start popping up. And that's really the big question we're diving into here. When everything just feels broken, how do we even begin to build what comes next? Well, we're going to look at a few very different and pretty fascinating answers to that.
Okay, so our first path, let's call it the relentless visionary. This is the idea that progress isn't a team sport. It's about one single, almost obsessive individual who drags the future forward kicking and screaming just through their sheer force of will.
And wow, this quote just nails that mindset, doesn't it? Staring into an abyss while eating glass. I mean, this isn't about finding a work-life balance. It's all about sacrifice. It perfectly sets up this archetype of a leader who will literally endure anything to make their vision real.
And this is the engine that drives the whole thing. It's not just about putting in long hours. It's about a kind of relentless drive that just keeps going, long after any sane person would have thrown in the towel. The idea that you have to be willing to put everything on the line, your health, your money, your relationships, that's just seen as the price of admission for building the future.
And if you look at this timeline, it's just a perfect picture of how high risk, high reward this path is. I mean, think about it. He arrives with just $2,000 in his pocket, sleeping on the office floor. Then he found SpaceX with this insane goal of making us a multiplanetary species. And by 2008, both SpaceX and Tesla are teetering on the edge of bankruptcy, just about to go under. It's a story of surviving these impossible odds, all through just stubborn persistence. That's the visionary's blueprint in a nutshell.
Okay, so that's one way to do it. But now let's pivot to a totally different idea. What if progress isn't about a single hero? What if it's about engineering a better system? Building a smarter machine that just solves problems automatically, from the ground up.
So our first example of this is a model called Green Energy Management, or GEM for short. And their whole idea is to tackle that classic problem we all face, right? Do I do the thing that's good for my bank account or the thing that's good for the planet? GEM's answer is, why choose? Let's build a system where those two things are one and the same.
So how does it work? Well, they call it the green machine, and it's this really cool mix of different tech. First, you've got these robotic vending machines that bring fresh food right into communities. Then, there's an asset-backed crypto, and all that means is its value is tied to something real, like food or energy, not just market speculation. And finally, it's all built on an open-source franchise model so anyone can build one. It's a blueprint built on pure logistics and tech, not on a single charismatic leader.
All right, our second system is even more out there. It's called Harmony AI. And I want you to really notice the language here. It's not described as a tool or a platform. The key phrase is strategic partner. This is an AI designed from the ground up to actively help humanity achieve positive, human-centric goals.
And this is basically its moral code. The ethics aren't bolted on at the end. They're baked right into its core. It's just 3 simple but really powerful rules. Rule 1, do no harm. That's the baseline. Rule 2, do good if you can. So it's actively looking for ways to help. And then rule 3, and this is my favorite part, if you're unsure, ask. It has this hard-coded humility. If it's not sure what to do, it just stops and asks a person. How cool is that?
So if we put them side by side, the difference is pretty stark. You've got GEM, which is decentralized and physical, trying to solve logistical problems like getting food to people. And then you have Harmony AI, which is centralized and digital, designed to tackle big social challenges like public health. They're both engineered systems, for sure, but they're approaching the problem from totally different worlds.
Okay, so we've got the lone genius on one hand and the engineered system on the other. But what happens when these ideas actually hit the real world? We're about to look at an incredible case study. A society in the middle of a crisis, trying to figure out its own future, with 2 completely opposite blueprints on the table.
So check this out. On one side, you have the Kingdom Restoration Initiative. Their blueprint? It comes from ancient prophecy, from sacred texts. Then, on the complete other side of the spectrum, you have the Talk Less Party. They're not looking at prophecy. They're looking at GENII algorithms, basically an AI focused on a country's well-being and quantum intelligence to figure out the best path forward. So you've got the ancient past versus the far future battling for the present.
I mean, you couldn't make up 2 more different approaches. Their source of truth, their goals, they are polar opposites. And yet, get ready for this. There is something absolutely mind-blowing happening just beneath the surface.
And here it is. This is the big reveal. Just look at that.
Even though they come from completely different ideological universes, both of these movements have somehow independently landed on the exact same 4 pillars for rebuilding their society: forgiveness, hope, trust, and agency. The words are identical. It's wild.
That's just an incredible coincidence. Or is it? It really makes you wonder, right? Are these 4 things, forgiveness, hope, trust, and agency, are they the real secret sauce? The fundamental building blocks for any successful blueprint for the future, no matter if it comes from tech, faith, or a single visionary?
But hold on, it's not quite that simple. Just because the words are the same, it doesn't mean they mean the same thing. For the faith-based group, forgiveness is about healing these ancient, deep wounds. For the tech party, it's more conditional. It depends on your future actions. Hope is a divine promise for one, but for the other, it's a strategic tool for leaders to use. So these 4 pillars are actually like gateways to 2 totally different ways of seeing the world.
And this is where we bring it all back together. Now we have to look at our first 2 blueprints through this new lens. So what about the relentless visionary? Where do forgiveness and trust fit into a world of 120-hour work weeks? And what about the engineered systems? Does a decentralized franchise network automatically build trust? Can an AI, no matter how ethical, really give someone a sense of agency? These are the real questions.
So, we'll leave you with that to chew on. We've seen blueprints built on one person's obsession, and we've seen blueprints built on complex, elegant systems. But when 2 completely opposite visions for a country's future somehow end up built on the exact same 4 words, forgiveness, hope, trust, and agency, it really makes you stop and think. Can any plan for the future, no matter how smart, no matter how powerful, actually work if it doesn't start with that shared human foundation?